Hello, my name is Bob Bryant. I am an 82-year-old retired dentist. There has been a rise in carbon dioxide. That is a fact. The question is, what caused the increase in carbon dioxide? The warmest claimed it was caused by man burning fossil fuels. The burning of fossil fuels is actually an insignificant player in the rise of carbon dioxide. We will now take a closer look at Noah's chart. The dotted line here shows the rise in carbon dioxide. There is no large amount of carbon dioxide before the 30s to cause the great heat of the 30s. After 1930, there is a great rise in carbon dioxide, but no great heat in the 21st century. Could the heat of the 30s have caused the rise in carbon dioxide? Historically, the carbon dioxide rise follows the rise in temperature. Oceans make up 71% of the Earth's surface. The oceans are a vast reservoir of carbon dioxide because plants and animals that die decompose and release carbon dioxide into the cold water. Cold water doesn't release the carbon dioxide. It was hot in the early part of the 20th century and extremely hot in the 30s. The heat from the sun came down and slowly penetrated this very deep ocean into the depths and eventually warmed up this cold water and released the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It is a fact that when heat is applied to a body of cold water, the carbon dioxide is released and driven out. Carbon dioxide is the staff of life. Photosynthesis requires carbon dioxide. Here we show carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight gives us oxygen, which we need to live, and glucose, which produces all the food that we eat, including the plant itself. We know if we take a potted plant, put it inside and don't water it, it dies. The same thing would happen if we had no carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This would become a dead planet. This is the carbon dioxide cycle. Decomposing matter gives off carbon dioxide, animals and plants. Animals respire and give off carbon dioxide. We burn fossil fuels and give off carbon dioxide, all helping plants. We can thank Dr. Hepper for the clear photographs we now get due to his sodium guide star invention. He is a skeptic. I have been very lucky to be able to meet and talk with Dr. Happer down at Princeton. Happer is the Eugene Higgins Professor of Physics and Cyrus Fogg Brackett Professor of Physics at Princeton University and Chairman of the Board of Directors at the George C. Marshall Institute and is on the Academic Advisory Council of the Global Warming Policy Foundation.
I regularly get hate mail. I got one the other day that said, you're a fucking educated Nazi, and I hope you hang by the neck until you're dead. So, I get this kind of stuff all the time.
William Happer, a mild-mannered physics professor at Princeton University, doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would inspire hate mail. But Dr. Happer is a climate skeptic. That is, he doesn't believe the scary warnings about climate change, what used to be known as global warming.
This is propaganda. This is really a religious cult, and it's complete falsehood to say that it's science. Oxygen.
Happer is most interested in the misinformation about carbon dioxide, CO2. A century ago, out of every 10,000 molecules in the atmosphere, 3 were CO2. Now there are 4 molecules per 10,000, or 400 parts per million. That's actually low by geological standards and less than optimum for plant life. Greenhouses typically pump in CO2 at up to 1,000 parts per million.
plants really do much better with more CO2. And if you look at current agricultural production, probably about 15% of the increase over the last 100 years is from more CO2. If I were king, I would look carefully and try to determine what would be an optimal CO2 level. I know it's more than 400. I don't know whether it's 1,000 or 1,500, but I would try to honestly look at the benefits of more CO2 along with any possible downsides.
The biggest possible downside is warming. Climate alarmists have been telling us that more CO2 is a direct cause of higher global temperatures. But while CO2 concentrations have risen gradually, passing the 400 parts per million mark, global temperatures have been steady for the past 17 years. The models have been consistently and grossly wrong.
Well, they've been terrible because they all predicted steadily rising temperatures, about 0.3 of a degree typically, centigrade. And the rise since 1998 or so has been zero. So it couldn't be worse.
Dr. Happer stresses that he wants a clean environment and that genuine pollution, such as that from coal-fired plants in China and India, has to be curbed.
That's real pollution, and that should not be permitted. But that's not CO2. You can't even see CO2. There's this intentional effort to conflate CO2, which is benign, in fact beneficial, with real pollutants.
William Happer looks forward to a day when renewables are truly viable. That is a long way off. Until then, oil and natural gas and clean coal provide humanity with abundant and cheap energy, enabling poor people to escape poverty. CO2 will continue to slowly rise, but that will mean more food, less starvation.
So we'll have very modest warming, we'll have much greater agricultural production. It's all good, and in addition to all of that, we benefit while they last from using fossil fuels, which have lifted humanity out of abject poverty and misery in the last few centuries. So what's bad about that?
This is the greening of the earth that Dr. Happer explained in his video. Hardly the red earth, the warmest predicted, and actually show.